everyone, so today's video is going to be an update for my chopping block. So I filmed sort of the intro to this video, or the first part, a few weeks ago, and I tested out the products and I have decided whether or not I want to declutter them. So obviously today we're just going to be going through the products. I'm going to tell you what I decided. So let's just go ahead and get straight into it. So the first product is from Bare Minerals. This is just their mineral veil, and I got this from my sister because she wasn't using it. She didn't want it anymore, and I feel like this is probably super old, but I tried it on my face and I actually really love the way it looks. I feel like it almost blurs my skin, and it is just a really beautiful powder, and I'd also just prefer to go through this and use it up rather than decluttering it. So this one I will be keeping. The next product is a loose pigment from ColourPop. This was part of the Kathleen Lights collection, and it is in the shade The Line, and this is sort of just a gold shade, and it's, I feel like, not really anything special. It's also a loose pigment, so it can get pretty messy, which I don't really like, and I just tend not to reach for it. I also tend not to reach for gold shades in general, so this one I will be decluttering. I feel like I just don't need it in my collection, and other people or someone else can get more use out of it than I will. I also still have a couple of these in my collection in shades that I prefer, so I will be getting rid of this one. The next one is a product that I repressed. This is from my Kat Von D Shade and Light like highlight and contour palette, and obviously I decluttered that palette and I kept the two lightest bronzers and I repressed them together into here, and the formula of this is just like not great. It's super loose, sort of like loosely pressed in the pan, I think, so there's a ton of kick up when I use it, and even though it is a nice shade and I do kind of like the way it looks, it's just not my favorite. Also, it's in like broken packaging that I just had laying around. I think it was a product that I was going to throw out, and I just decided to repress this into here. So I feel like I'm not gonna reach for this. I'd rather reach for any other bronzer in my collection, and the formula of it is just not the same as it was before I repressed it, so I will be decluttering this one. Now, the next products that I wanted to decide on whether or not I wanted to declutter are a few highlighters, because I feel like I just have too many highlighters in my collection and it's overwhelming. So I knew I wanted to get rid of maybe at least one of them, possibly two. So the first one is the Laura Geller Gilded Honey Highlight. This was like a classic raved about product a long time ago, and I got a little mini of it. I believe it came in a set with a bunch of other products on Poshmark. So I got this in like a set with other products, and I was happy to have it, but I just haven't really used it since I brought it into my collection. So I wanted to try it out a little bit and see if I really did like it. And when I applied this to my cheeks, I actually really loved the way it looks, even though it is just like a gold highlight, and I feel like most of the highlighters in my collection are gold, so I'm sort of hesitant to purchase or not reach for, because I have them in my collection, but I'm hesitant to purchase or keep so many gold highlighters. But I did really love this when I used it on my cheeks, so I will be keeping this one. Another highlight that I also rolled in is the ColourPop On the Cusp highlight. This was from a Kathleen Lights collection, and I do really like the way this looks on my cheeks. It is pretty intense. I feel like it's also kind of glittery, which normally I don't like glitter in my highlights, but for some reason this is like a glitter that I kind of like the way it looks. But I know I'm just not going to reach for this because I never reach for my Super Shock type of highlighters, and I know this is kind of like my least favorite highlight in my collection, so I know I'm not going to end up using this as much as I should, so I will be decluttering this one. And then the other one I have is also a sort of like Super Shock Cheek, the same formula, but it's actually from Space Case Cosmetics, and it's in the shade Seen from Space. And I got this in a BoxyCharm, and I wasn't expecting to like it, but it is literally the exact same formula as these Super Shock Cheeks, and I like this color a lot better. It's also a little bit more subtle. It doesn't have any glitter in it like the other ColourPop highlight I just showed you, and it also has sort of like an interesting shift. It's almost like a pale gold with a little bit of a green undertone almost. I feel like this is just more unique than any highlight I have in my collection. So it's not like super gold. It's sort of like a pale gold with a little bit of greenish tone in it. I don't know what it is about this, but I do really, really love it. And I feel like it still looks natural on the cheeks, but it is also really unique to my collection. So I will be keeping this one. And this is the only sort of Super Shock cheek formula I have left in my collection. I decluttered all my other ColourPop Super Shock Cheek highlighters, so I will be keeping this one. Next, we have a couple lip products. First is a NYX Butter Gloss. This is in the shade Vanilla Cream Pie, and I have a bunch of these NYX butter glosses in obviously a bunch of different shades, and this one was just one I feel like I wouldn't wear or I didn't like as much as the others, but when I applied it to my lips, I actually really loved it. It doesn't show up as like bubblegum pink as it looks in the tube, so I find that it's a little bit more sheer, and I don't really have a gloss in this shade anywhere else in my collection, so I figured I really love this formula. It's probably one of my favorite gloss formulas, so I think I'm going to keep it just because it is a little bit more unique to my collection, even though I don't use this every day. I mean, I could. It is pretty natural and easy to pull off, but it is just sort of a more unique, cool toned pink shade that I don't have anything like in my collection, so I will be keeping this one. I also wanted to test out a little bit more one of my ColourPop lippy sticks. This is in the shade At Twilight, and I believe this is actually the last lippy stick I have left in my collection, and I just never ever reach for this, and I haven't used it much since I got this. This was probably the newest one to my collection, which is probably the reason why it's the only one I kept for so long, but I feel like I don't love this shade on me. I feel like I have other things in my collection like this and that I like more, so I will be decluttering this one. Now, the last product, I guess kind of product, it's sort of like an eyeshadow palette, but it is a few of my single eyeshadows. And this is sort of a little quad that I put together. I just threw it in a little mini ColourPop palette that's super old. But I threw these shadows in here because this was like already put together. Like I took all my single shadows and sort of made my own color stories. So these have been in here for a while and I just haven't used them. And this is obviously like the more golden quad. So I just tend not to reach for golds, like I said before, with that ColourPop pigment. I don't know what it is, but I just don't love the way they look on me. So I think I will declutter this gold shade just because I know I'm not going to use it, but I may keep some of these other mattes. I want to go through my singles and sort of look at them all together and see what I want to keep, but I think I definitely will declutter this gold shade. I may or may not end up keeping some of these mattes, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that on camera or not. Probably not, because I just want to be able to like really process everything and sort of go through my singles on my own. So this gold I will be decluttering, but these other mattes I may be keeping. I don't know if I need a matte black though, but it is kind of nice to have, but I feel like I just never wear matte black. So that one I might end up decluttering, but this one is sort of like a half declutter, half keep. And that is it for this chopping block update. I will also have another declutter video coming soon, so if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos. I do post about 3 times a week, so also make sure to hit that bell icon to get notified when I post. And if you did enjoy this, make sure to give it a thumbs up as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.